Alright, hello people, I'm the Jew and this is my review slash rant for Paranormal Activity. One of the more interesting horror movies to come down the pipe in a long, long time. This one's actually pretty old. I'm not talking about the newer one. I think there's like 3 now or something like that. I'm talking about the first one, which I never watched. And it's very easy to explain why I never watched it. I can't stand that type of movie. I've never liked it. Some of the examples are Blair Witch. I hated it. I loathed it. I could not stand it. It was disgustingly, horribly bad. It was a terrible movie. Rec, which is short for record or something like that. It was crap. Cloverfield was crap. Whatever the Romero shaky cam movie was, I think he had like 2 of them. They were both crap. All movies like that, all movies that use the whole, this is supposed to be grounded somewhere in reality, but it's also a horror movie, which makes no fucking sense at all, but basically it's just, some shit is going down, someone happens to have a camera, and they become our perspective, the audience's perspective. It is always bad. It is always bad. For several reasons. Usually they can't keep the fucking camera steady, which is just crap. You can't use the normal cinema style where you have pans and cuts and all that stuff, different perspectives. You can't use any of that because your perspective is one fucking camera, which usually just isn't as effective in general. And most of the time, it doesn't make any fucking sense that someone would be carrying a camera around in a horror movie. But who cares? It's a movie, fine, whatever. They have to have someone with a camera for this type of movie to work. So all right, whatever. But just bottom line, I never saw the point. I never understood this type of movie. You can make regular movies and have them infinitely better than this. Because all the editing and, you know, the music, like Carpenter, oh my god, his music is amazing. Some of his worst movies, and he's had some bad ones, are still good because his music is so fucking crazy awesome. His music just draws you into his movies, just sucks you in. It's just that good. And you never have music in these fucking shaky cam movies because it's supposed to be reality. It's supposed to... You don't have a soundtrack in the background when you're doing things in the real world. So, yeah, a lot of things that make movies good, they don't have in this type of movie, and I don't like it. I don't like how they're constantly bouncing around. They're usually running for their lives, and the camera's going fucking apeshit, you know, flying every which direction, and I don't understand the point, honestly. So yeah, that's my perspective. That's where I'm coming from before I watched this movie, and that's why I didn't watch it till now, till this morning, earlier today. And coming from that perspective, I want to say that this movie is okay. It's not bad. It's not Blair Witch or Cloverfield or what was that more recent one? Where they're stuck in an apartment building or whatever. And this time it's an actual cameraman. They're like a news crew, so it's not just some random jackass with like a little handheld camera. He's actually a cameraman. I can't remember what the movie's called, but that one sucked ass too. So, anyways, this is the only one I've ever watched of this genre that was decent. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say it was amazing. It was okay. It was passable. And the reason that it was passable is because, well, the biggest reason, the number one reason, is that for probably 90% of this movie, 9/10 of this movie, the camera isn't moving. The camera is in one spot, looking at a room and the hallway. So, the biggest problem that I had with these movies is that the camera's always bouncing around because some jackass, you know, has it in their hand. And they're running around like an idiot trying not to get eaten or murdered or slaughtered or whatever. This movie completely avoids that. They almost never pick the camera up. In fact, I think the only time I can remember them doing it is when at the very beginning of the movie, he had just bought the camera and he was dicking around with it, carrying it around with him. Even then, he wasn't running for his life. You know, I mean, it was happy, fun times type stuff. The shit had not hit the fan yet. So he was very, you know, static with it and very, you know, still. Not a lot of movement. I think later on, one time, I can remember one time, where they picked the camera up and took it with them down the hallway. But again, they weren't running away from anything. They were moving really slowly and calm, well, mostly calm, and it wasn't too bad. But like I said, for the vast majority of the movie, it's just the camera is sitting on a tripod looking at the room and the hallway, and that's it. And that was awesome. That was brilliant. If you're going to make this kind of movie, do that. Put the camera in one place and leave it the fuck alone. Please, dear God. Thank you for that. And then another thing that they got right, which most of these movies get horribly wrong, is they actually had a reason for the fucking camera. And beyond that, they had a reason why the camera wasn't just discarded, because like I said, it's just set up. The camera just is. They're not bringing it around with them, you know? They're not running from a monster videotaping it, which makes no sense at all. The camera is just set up early on in the movie, and it's just there. They're not interacting with it at all at night when the shit is happening. So it actually makes sense. It's plausible. Which most of these movies, it just doesn't make any sense at all. I don't care how badly I want to get a monster on film. If I'm getting chased for my fucking life, I'm in mortal danger, I'm not going to continue to videotape. It doesn't make any sense. It's ludicrous. Just the premise alone is ridiculous. So yeah, just because of those 2 points alone, basically, are probably the only reason I like this movie at all. At all. If they had fucked those two things up, nothing else would have mattered. I would have hated this movie. So yeah, it had those two things going for it. Some of the other good things about this movie are it understands what suspense is. It understands what subtlety is. So many horror movies just don't. They all want to be Saw. Or they all want to be the next, Friday the 13th slasher flick. Or they want to be self-referential or whatever and have comedy in there in a fucking horror movie. Stuff like that. It doesn't make any sense at all. True horror movies are suspenseful. True horror movies are a progression. They're a fucking curve, steadily going up. Some kind of happy shit going on at the beginning. Something happens where, that they're worried and they're concerned. Shit starts to get real, and then by the end, we're at the fucking top of the curve where, whatever is going to happen has happened. The true, shit has hit the fan moment near the end. Most horror movies don't understand that. They have no idea what the fuck suspense is. They blow their wad right off the bat. It's like, oh, I'm a monster, and you die right off, 5 minutes into the movie, and then you kill someone else, and then you kill someone else. That's not suspenseful at all. And it's not scary either. This movie really understands what suspense is. It's about a ghost or a demon or something. They're not really sure what it is. It's never really absolutely pinpointed what it is. It's just some malevolent entity that's been stalking this woman her entire life, basically. But what it does is it starts out small. It's making noises. They think it's kind of entertaining and that kind of thing. They're not worried at all. Then it slowly ramps up a little bit as it's making more loud noises, as opposed to softer noises that are even hard to hear. It starts moving things, which, none of that's really dangerous yet. It's escalation, but it's not, oh shit, we're gonna die type stuff. And then eventually it starts the voices get louder, and it even touches her at some point, and the shit truly hits the fan in my favorite part of the movie, my favorite scene in the entire movie, where the camera is always set up in this fixed position, like I said, in the bedroom. You can kind of see the bed, you can kind of see some of the bathroom, and then the hallway door is kind of right in the middle of the shot. And every time night falls, we get that perspective. We're the camera, basically, and we see that room and the hallway and all that. And steadily it gets, it grows from sounds and things moving to, oh my god, it just touched me, and she losing her shit, and it's like knocking things over downstairs and stuff like that, to one night, we hear noises, and it's like, okay, we've been there, it's just more noises, okay, not a big deal, it's just gonna bang on some stuff and that'll be it. No, you see her she's lying in bed, dead asleep, you see her leg move, right? You see it move off the bed, and then it kind of stops, and you're like, okay, that was fucking weird. Then out of nowhere, she gets dragged the fuck out of bed, hits the floor with a giant thud, and then gets dragged down the hallway screaming. That was when you knew this shit was real. Because up until that point, this movie was kind of, okay, that's a little creepy, but I could deal with it. You know, it's just noises and stuff. But no, this is when it is absolutely, imminently, threat for their lifetime. You know, they're in danger. Something bad could seriously happen. So, yeah, this movie knows what progression is. It knows what suspense is. It knows what subtlety is. A lot of the things in this movie are really small things that they get right. Like, a lot of things, and another thing with subtlety, a lot of things happen off fucking screen, which so many horror movies don't want to do that. They want to put it all right in your fucking face. Front and center, you know, the monster's just dancing in the middle of the screen killing people and shit like that. No, everything in this movie is either the ethereal entity or whatever the hell it is that you can't actually see doing things, or it happens completely off screen. Like, most of the noises happen completely off screen. When the fucking monster or whatever it is grabs her and drags her out of the room, it's down the hallway and in the darkness. You can't even see what it's doing. For all you know, it's tearing her to pieces because it's off screen. It's subtle, you know, it's not like right in front of the camera. But yeah, all the basics of horror, this movie got right. And I think it's to its credit. It helped it out a lot. It really did. And if all you care about is like the next slasher flick with blood flying all over the place and body parts and the next fucking Saw wannabe movie, you're gonna fucking hate this. It's just a fact. But those aren't real horror movies. Those are just there to be a different kind of entertainment. I've never been scared watching, some freakish way that some guy's dying, because it's not scary. It's just novel. It's just something that I haven't seen before. That's not scary. You know what I mean? This movie really knows what horror is, would be the gist of what I'm trying to get at. It's truly unsettling at some points, especially later on when you realize that they're kind of helpless. No matter what they do, it's probably not going to end well for them. And it gives you this really unsettling feeling to know that no matter what they do, they're kind of screwed. And, yeah, I think they got that right. Plus, the villain in this movie was really good, the ghost. Like I said, I mean, he starts out small, and then by the end of the movie, it's just like he's fucking unstoppable, basically. It's not one or the other. It's this, like, this steady pace between, basically benign, just kind of a curiosity at best, to, oh my god, what the fuck are we gonna do? This thing's gonna kill us. That kind of thing. Really, really cool. I just like the villain in general. Plus, he never says anything. You never actually see him. You never see the ghost. You don't even get a whiff of seeing him. There's no like, there's like a shadow on the door one time in the movie, but that's it. That's the closest you come to seeing the villain. And most of the time, it's just him indirectly scaring them. He's not even really on screen, so to speak. But it's effective. It works. It really works. I really liked the villain. For all the movies lately where, the villain is just this crazy monstrosity thing that's, it's front and center throughout the entire movie. This was very, very, very much the better way to go, I think. I mean, they just as easily could have made this a true demon where you see it and it's got horns and it's red and evil looking and all that. They didn't do that. They went the other way, and I think the movie was better for it, honestly. Because you really don't know what they're dealing with. Like I said, they never even absolutely pin it down. They don't even know if it is a demon. It could be a ghost. It could be some malevolent entity that they have no idea where it came from. That kind of thing. Let's see, what else? Obviously the camera. Like I said, the camera, they treated the camera like they should treat it for this type of movie. They just put it in one place and left it alone. But moreover, they treated a camera inside the movie. The characters inside the movie treated the camera like it was a fucking camera. Like someone would treat a camera in real life. They didn't treat it like they were filming a movie. They weren't using cinematography and shit like that. In so many of these movies, they'll use like wide-angle shots and panoramas and all this other kinds of crazy shit when it's one guy with a fucking handycam. No one's gonna do that. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I mean, it's ridiculous. In this movie, even when they do pick the camera up, it's like you or me would be using a camera. They're just kind of holding it, pointing it forward at whatever the hell's happening. That's it. There's no fancy, camera angles or any of that shit. So yeah, I mean, it helps ground this in what they're going for, some kind of realism. That's literally at the end of the day what this style of movie is going for. That something's happening to random people. They happen to have a camera, and we get to see it. That kind of thing. It's not supposed to be created as a movie with all the regular movie frills, which is a bad thing. Like I said earlier, I like having all the frills, but whatever. That's just me. I think if you use all that stuff effectively, cinematography and music and all that stuff, use it effectively, the horror movie's all the better for it. But whatever. Still, this movie, it got a lot of things right, but at the same time, there was some just like, what the fuck moments. I guess I'll just get into the bad stuff right now. One of the main characters, the boyfriend, is a fucking idiot. At every step, every turn, everything that he could do that's just absolutely fucking stupid, he did. I mean, every single time. It's like, what is the worst thing you can do in any given moment? And he does it. And it boggles the fucking mind. Like, right off the bat, I mean, like, right at the beginning of the movie, the girlfriend she's not really worried yet, because even though the ghost or whatever it is has come back, it's not really doing anything dangerous. It's just kind of making noises at night, and that's it. And she's not really scared yet, but it has scared her in the past. And moreover, it burned down one of her fucking houses. She says at some point that she's not sure if the ghost did it or not. But regardless, even if it could have burned down her house, it's a very legitimate reason to be afraid. We're not talking about like bumps in the night. We're talking about something burning down your fucking house while you're in it. So yeah, she has legitimate reasons to be scared as far as like her past when she was a kid. But as of right now, it's only come back and kind of made noises, and I think she said she heard voices, but they were very soft and she couldn't tell what it was saying, that kind of thing. It was all really innocuous. But even at that point, when her jackass boyfriend buys the camera and he's like, I want to videotape it, and I want to use this as some kind of form of fucking entertainment, and he's all jazzed up about it. She's like, no, I just want it to go away. I don't want it to be here. Because she knows that it's going to get worse. Some part of her knows that it's gonna progress into something she doesn't want to find out about. But no, her jackass boyfriend buys this expensive camera, and his plan is just to videotape it and show it to everyone, and all this stupid horseshit. So right off the bat, I didn't like this guy. I thought he was a fucking idiot. But at that point, okay, fine. He's just insensitive, and he doesn't really think it's a problem yet, because at that point it wasn't. So okay, I'll give it to him. I'll let it go. Throughout the rest of the movie, he just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. They bring in this jackass demonologist guy who is spouting off random horseshit that I could have told you, like demons are bad, and don't taunt the demons, and don't open lines of communication with the demons, all this stupid shit that anyone with half a brain cell could figure out. So basically, his entire character was pointless. It's not like he was, some college-trained professor that was pulling out obscure quotes and crazy old literature and all this other shit that no one would know about. No, he's just spouting off random facts that anyone could figure out. So yeah, and you see this guy like 3 times throughout the movie too. It's fucking hilarious how useless his character is. He serves no purpose at all. But anyways, even when the demonologist shows up and he's like, don't fuck with the demon. Fucking with the demon is a bad idea. You don't want to bring it into your life. You don't want to start a fucking dialogue with the demon. So what does Mika do? Obviously, throughout the movie, he taunts the demon several times, in fact. Taunts. I mean, like, come get some, demon. I'm going to kick your ass, demon. You don't fuck with me. I'm a badass. All this stupid shit throughout the movie. He's just doing everything in his power to antagonize the demon or ghost or whatever the hell it is. They say don't open communication with it, and his girlfriend or whatever is like, don't bring out the Ouija board. I don't want to talk to it. It's a really bad idea. What does he do? He brings it out, obviously, and the fucking demon sets it on fire, which is kind of cool. But yeah, like later on in the movie, she's like, I don't know even how to put this? She's like got a bad sense of where this is going, I guess. But he's not really on board at that point. He's just still kind of in his, curious mode, I guess. He wants he's like, can you coax the demon out? Can you do something to bring the demon out so I can videotape it? And I'm like, really? Really? You're this fucking stupid. I mean, regardless of what it is and how dangerous it is, it's unknown. It's not something that you can easily categorize or, have any idea what it's going to do. And his immediate reaction is, please, let's bring the demon out so I can videotape it. Please make crazy shit happen so I can videotape it. Basically, everything in this entire movie is this guy's fault. Because everything they tell him is to ignore the demon, leave the demon alone. He does the exact opposite throughout the entire movie. It's ridiculous. I couldn't stand this guy. I wanted to strangle him. I wanted to slap the shit out of him throughout, just like from start to finish. So yeah, I mean, I hated the boyfriend. I hated the demonologist. They were both fucking useless as far as characters go. Well, Mika had uses, but he was an asshole. So I still hated him. What else? Oh right, there's a scene where Mika finds this random ass video clip on the internet of someone who had the exact same problems. Like, the thing haunted her entire life. It even burned her house down. It was a recurring problem. Basically, everything that happened to the main character, the female main character, happened to this person. And Mika just, like, Googled this shit and found it within a day. Somehow. I have no idea how. Imagine looking for one specific incident, not like well televised or on the news or anything like that. Some random ass obscure incident that happened to one person and finding it on the internet right off the bat. But yeah, I guess he's just amazing at surfing the web. I don't fucking know. But anyways, the person that this happened to ended up getting fucking possessed by the ghost of the demon or whatever. And we're talking about like full-on The Exorcist, like face all contorted and crazy and demon eyes and freaking out and foaming at the mouth. That kind of possession. And apparently, this is also one of the unintentional funnier moments in the movie that they probably didn't expect. Their explanation for this being on the internet was that one of the priests recorded this, and then his immediate reaction afterwards was to post it on the internet so that if this happens to anyone else, that they could see that it had happened before, that there was some kind of record of it or something. I was laughing my ass off at that very thought, that some priest would have a camera videotaping this exorcism, and it gets pretty bloody, it gets pretty fucking hideous, and then his reaction is to post it on the internet because just in case some random ass person happens to have the exact same problem and happens to find it on the big fucking giant ass internet. I mean, what the fuck? That's way too many just, what ifs. What that might actually happen to come to this perfect, series of events. It didn't make any sense to me at all. In the slightest. And I was just laughing at the entire premise. But the woman who was possessed or whatever, she ended up chewing off her arm because she was strapped down. She was trying to get the straps off, I guess, and ended up bleeding to death because she chewed her fucking arm off. So yeah, that was fucking nasty. But the problem that I have with that whole scene is that it's supposed to be that this is what happened in the past, this is what's going to happen to the female, to the main character. Her name is Katie, I think. This is going to be what she can look forward to, basically. Spoiler, none of this shit happens. None. This is what we call a fucking dead end. It's just completely useless. The whole exorcism tape and finding this happened to someone else and all that other shit, it's like that was a completely different event with like a completely different enemy or villain or whatever you want to call it. Because it has nothing to do with this movie at all. Nothing. She doesn't get possessed. She doesn't go all fucking crazy rabid monster face fucker, whatever the hell that happened to that chick. She doesn't get crazy and start biting people or freaking out on people and stuff like that. None of that happens. The ending is very subdued. It's very, subtle. It's just kind of like, point A, point B, she walks back up, and then that's really it. And that's kind of the end of the movie. So yeah, the whole exorcism thing, the whole possession thing, I don't know if that was supposed to be like a red herring or something, but that has nothing to do with this movie at all. Nothing. At all. And they kept saying, oh, this is exactly what happened, and she was possessed, and her house burned down, and the thing followed her, to other houses and all this stuff. They're trying to connect it to the movie, but the end result was nothing like what happens at the end of the movie, so it's just kind of, what the fuck? It doesn't make any sense. The connection just isn't there. And then, another thing which I really hated about this movie, which made no sense at all, none, is that there's like a day-night cycle in this movie. The daytime is when they analyze what happened the night before. They look at the crazy shit on the videotape. They discuss what they're going to do about it. If they want to, run away or try and get the expert to come in, or all that kind of stuff, when they're analyzing what they should do and what has happened. And then there's a night cycle where shit happens, basically. So it's analysis, and then the ghost demon thing does something crazy. Analysis, and then the ghost demon thing does something else crazy. So it's back and forth between the day and the night thing. The problem I have is, throughout this entire fucking movie, neither one of them seem to have any trouble at all going back to sleep. I think there's one scene where she says out loud that she doesn't want to go to sleep because she's afraid. The whole rest of the movie, and that's fairly early in the movie, the whole rest of the movie, especially later on when the shit hits the fan, neither one of them have any trouble just laying their fucking head on that pillow and falling asleep counting motherfucking sheep. This is after the thing grabs her ass and drags her out of bed. Nope, they're still fine, they just go to sleep. This is after they know for a fact that this thing wants to do something seriously bad to them. Nope, they're still fine, just going to sleep. It makes no sense at all. It's like they're, like scarfing sleeping pills or something, but we never actually see that, so I have no idea how they keep managing this. Like, from the midpoint of the movie, when the whatever it is, the evil entity is doing seriously fucked up shit, I would have slept all night, every night. This would be like fucking Nightmare on Elm Street. I would be up all night trying to stay awake just so I can get to the daytime, I would sleep during the day. Because nothing happens during the day in this movie. But no, they're just like nighttime hits, and their head hits the pillow and they're fucking sound asleep. Just drove me crazy the entire movie. I was like, why are you going back to sleep? You might not fucking wake up. But yeah, it made no sense at all. And then another thing is their reaction to the ghost of the demon. It's very plausible the way they're scared of it. I mean, that is plausible, but their reaction is what they should do about the demon makes no sense at all. They don't ever actually seem to do anything. I mean, they have plans, and they have these like strategy sessions about how they're gonna, solve the problem, but they never actually do anything. I mean, the best they can come up with is they call the demonologist guy, I think, twice. They call him twice. That's it. That's all they do. They never actually try to solve the problem, or they never actually put it into practice how they're going to solve the problem. They're just like, oh, crazy shit happened. Oh, that's scary. Maybe we should do this or this or this. And then they just go to sleep again. And then the next day, they look at the video. Oh, that's really scary. Maybe we should do something. Nope, they just go to sleep again. And more crazy shit happens. It's like they're physically incapable of doing anything. They never leave the house, like, run away, escape, flee. They never do that. They never call anyone with any real power, like weapons or guns or a fucking news crew, or they never do anything at all. It's mind-boggling. It's like they know for a fact that something bad is going to happen, especially later in the movie. They know that this is escalating to something. Something terrible is going to happen, and they just never do anything about it. I don't know. It never made any sense to me. That and the whole sleeping thing, how they can just go to sleep on a dime just like that, like they're all warm and fuzzy and shit, and in their little cozy covers, like like the rest of the world doesn't exist. It didn't make any sense. Both of those didn't make any sense at all. I would have been freaking the fuck out. Even if I wanted to go to sleep, even if I was just blitzed out of my mind, retarded, just 100% stupid, blind to the truth, and I wanted to sleep. At that point, seeing what I'd seen, there's no way that I could lay down and just go to sleep. It wouldn't happen. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's out of the realm of fucking possibility. So yeah, for every good thing that this movie had, it had a lot of bad things holding it back, would be the general point. I mean, useless characters, unlikable characters, the ending just made no fucking sense. I mean, how the fuck, just the way they reacted to what was going on made no sense at all. The whole exorcism thing was just kind of forgotten and thrown out the window. I mean, it tied into nothing in the rest of the movie. I didn't even go into how ludicrous the ending is. Basically what happens is, after the demon drags her out of bed and down the hall, Mika runs after her and kind of rescues her somehow. Who the fuck knows? But he runs down the hall, grabs her off screen. We can't even really see what's happening, and he drags her back into the room. And from that point on, after that's happened, she starts to act strange. At that point, I assumed, because I haven't seen the rest of the movie, that she was possessed, or being possessed, or in the process of being possessed. But as you'll see later in the movie, that makes no fucking sense at all. But anyways, that's what I was thinking at the time. That's why she was acting strange. She was acting like slow and lethargic, and the next night, he's like, let's run away, let's get out of here. He finally gets that brilliant idea at the ass end of the movie that they should leave, at least try to leave, and see if it works. But by this time, she's so, strange that she's like, no, we're perfectly safe, let's just stay here, and you can tell that, something's off. But his immediate reaction to that ridiculous statement that we should stay, that everything is safe now, which it made no sense in the context of the movie. His immediate reaction was, okay, let's stay. And then next night hits and his head hits the pillow and he's asleep again like it's nothing. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But anyways, his head hits the pillow, he goes to sleep again. And she gets up, starts acting fucking weird. And she leaves the room. She screams bloody fucking murder like the ghost has her and it's, tearing her face off or something. Just screaming her head off. He wakes up, hears it, obviously runs out to help her. You hear him shout, and then nothing for like a couple of seconds. She comes stomping back up the stairs like she's a fucking African elephant or something, like she weighs 500 tons or something, and walks into the room and she's covered in blood and she's got a knife in her hand. The obvious thing is that she's killed him, that she stabbed him and that's where the blood came from. So after that, which, even that, just what happened there in the context of the movie, and especially the rest of the ending, doesn't even make any fucking sense. Why did she stab him? I mean, she's not possessed, because if she is, she acts like she's later on in the movie, she acts as if she's still herself, but confused, like she doesn't know what's going on. And what's even worse, if she is possessed, what was the goal? Because whatever it is, the demon ghost thing didn't accomplish it. I mean, the only thing that it accomplished after it possessed her was to kill Mika. That's it. Because once she kills him, she just kind of sits on the floor and waits for the cops to show up. And then once they show up, she acts confused and dazed, like she doesn't know what's going on. She stands up and walks towards them with the knife still in her hand, and they fucking shoot her ass, which completely justified. I'm sorry, but if someone is out of their mind and they're walking at me with a knife, I'm going to cap them. I'm sorry. I'm going to put 2 in their head and 2 in their chest. So yeah, the cops did exactly what they should. But the problem that I have is, the whole possession angle or whatever, it doesn't make any sense, because if he did possess her, what was the purpose? What was the point? Because whatever it is, he didn't succeed, unless the point was to kill Mika. I mean, and he's been stalking her entire life, so he would have never even known that she was going to even meet Mika, so I highly doubt that had anything to do with anything. He just happened to be there, so she killed him. So yeah, the whole possession angle just kind of falls apart. Plus, she never does the crazy face thing. She never does the, acting wild, crazy, I'm possessed thing where she's all rabid and scratching at people and all that stuff. She never does any of that. She's very calm throughout the entire ending. So yeah, none of it really ties into the whole possession thing, which is why I don't think that's what they were going for, which makes that whole scene earlier in the movie just really strange. I mean, like I said, maybe it was supposed to be a red herring, maybe it was supposed to throw us off or something, to give us something else to think that that's might be what's going to happen, but then it doesn't. I don't know. I don't think she was possessed. But what I think happened in the ending was that all the crazy shit that had happened up until that point, especially when she got drug out of bed by the ghost, I think she just lost her shit. She just went crazy. She's like out of her mind by that point. And she went downstairs, something scared her, she screamed. Her boyfriend went down there to save her. She thought he was maybe the ghost or something, and she stabbed his ass. You know, because everything in those last few scenes looks like she's crazy. Even when she walks back upstairs and sits next to the bed, she's kind of rocking herself back and forth, not moving other than just, rocking. For like, I think it was like 2 or 3 days she did that. So I think maybe, and when the cops show up, she acts like she doesn't know what's going on. She's like, Mika, is that you? I mean, she just stabbed him a couple of days ago. He's fucking dead, so obviously it's not Mika. But yeah, I think she just went crazy from the stress, is what happened. And then the ending the whole ending as a whole, just really, I don't know. It didn't do it for me. It's like it didn't tie into the rest of the movie. It just didn't make much sense. It was very confusing. Not confusing in an intentional way. Confusing in a, they just kind of slapped some shit together and this is what happened and it doesn't make any sense kind of way. So yeah, I really didn't like the ending at all. I hated the ending. Let's just put it that way. I fucking hated the ending. And like I said, my best guess is that she just went crazy, I guess. I don't know. Because, I mean, if I'm a demon and I'm going to possess someone, I'm probably going to have some kind of plan, some kind of master plan. I'm going to take them over so I can go do evil things, you know? I want to cause chaos and wreak havoc and that kind of thing. He doesn't do any of that. If he did possess her, he just kind of kills Mika and then sits there and waits for the cops to show up to shoot him. What the fuck's the point of that? I mean, that's not worth haunting someone their entire lifetime to kill them and their boyfriend. What the fuck? That doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, very confusing ending. Kind of a confusing... It just, like, their characters in general were confusing throughout the movie. They never really did what they should have done. Especially Mika. He was a fucking idiot. But even Katie, it's like she was just kind of along for the ride. And she never really tried to be proactive and do anything about the problem. I don't know. Really weird. But, yeah, I mean, did I like the movie? Fuck, I don't know. Like I said, it was kind of okay. It was, for everything it did good, for all the suspense it built with the ghost or whatever it was, and, for the nice progression throughout the movie into creepier and creepier shit, to, the unsettling atmosphere and them handling the fucking camera well for once in a movie like this. They handled it well for one time. This is probably the only movie in this genre that ever gets it right. For all that stuff, it just had so much bad stuff weighing it down. And like I said, this genre will never be good. This is probably the best example of it because they take out all of the unnecessary shit out of the genre. But even if you do that, the whole genre itself's fucking pointless. It adds nothing to movies. Nothing. It's just unnecessary. I mean, the true masters of their craft of horror movies have proven that you can make an amazing horror movie with cinematography. You know, you don't need to do this stupid, cheap-ass fucking, no-budget garbage. Maybe that was the point. Maybe they didn't have a budget and that's why they did this. If that was the reason, then okay, I understand it. And they did well with with the genre, so I can't really hate them for it, I guess. They made some really weird decisions throughout the movie. Really weird decisions. It's like they lost track of, what they had built upon story-wise, story arc-wise. So, yeah, I don't know. If this movie had a better ending that actually made sense, if they acted like real fucking people would act in that situation, those two things are probably the biggest, downsides to this movie. If they acted like real fucking human beings would act when something's trying to kill them. If they should have ran away way earlier on. I mean, even if they truly believed 100% that it was completely worthless, they would still try it. Anyone in their right mind would still give it a shot. They would try to leave to see if that helps. No, they never try it. Someone would call someone in with some kind of power to fight this thing. I mean, even if it's like the fucking modern day fucking Ghostbuster crazy fuckers that actually believe in ghosts and think that they can fight them, or like a seance or something. They would have done something. They did nothing. They did nothing to stop this fucking monster ghost thing. That's another really irritating thing. They should have fucking better defined what the hell this is. Like, they think it's a ghost at the beginning, and then later on they say, no, it's a demon, because I think it's something like it has evil intent or something like that. The demonologist guy says it has evil intent, so it can't be a ghost or whatever. It doesn't feel like it was ever human or something like that. But they never define what the fuck it is. And, at some point, there should have been some definitive proof. Like, the crazy demonologist guy is like, this is what demons do. And then later in the movie, that exact thing happens. And it's like, oh, okay, it's a demon. But that never really comes to pass. And the whole possession thing, like I said, that never really happens. So maybe it wasn't a demon, maybe it was a ghost. I don't know. It kind of makes sense because the true villain at the end of the movie isn't the demon or the ghost or whatever, it's the girlfriend. She's the one who kills Mika and basically causes her own death. So maybe the ghost just disturbed her so much that she couldn't take it anymore. I don't know. I haven't seen the next movie in the series, so maybe it's explained in that movie. I don't know. But I find it hard to believe that it was the demon that did it, that possessed her or whatever. I find it very hard to believe because it just doesn't make much sense the way the ending played out. But yeah, that's enough rambling, I guess. It was an okay watch. I mean, I had fun in a couple of moments, especially the moment where she got drug out of bed. That was just crazy, unexpected. I mean, throughout the entire movie they had set up that this thing's mostly benign and it's just kind of making noises and stuff, and up until that point, you had no idea that something this serious was going to happen, that it could even grab people. You had no idea that it could actually physically grab someone and pull them away into the shadows. So yeah, that was a really good moment. I really liked that. That was probably my favorite moment in this entire movie. Probably my second favorite moment was, I'd forgotten about it, but earlier in the movie, Mika makes a joke about Texas. He's like, it's the only state where you can legally buy an anti-tank weapon for your children and dogs, or something like that. It was a pretty good joke. I liked it. I actually live in Texas, and there are a lot of gun freaks here, so yeah, it was a legitimate joke. It was pretty good. This was way back at the beginning of the movie, though, before they knew that they were in danger. This is back when they were doing their whole lovey-dovey, like, oh, we're so in love, and, all this horseshit, and playing around with the camera and stuff like that. Earlier in the movie. If they made jokes like that later in the movie, it would have been a weakness, because it would have made no sense. I mean, it would have been just hilariously out of place. But yeah, those are probably my two favorite things about this movie. Would I watch it again? Probably not, honestly. I don't think it's worth watching again. I mean, I know what's going to happen. In most suspense movies, they have to be fucking amazing for me to watch them multiple times, because once the payoff happens later in the movie, that's what suspense is about. It builds suspense and then something big happens. Once you know what's going to happen, it's kind of pointless watching it again. So yeah, now that I know the ending of this movie, there's not much point. So yeah, I probably wouldn't watch it again. Would I recommend it to someone? Maybe. I mean, I'd recommend a whole bunch of other horror movies first. I know that for damn sure. But I don't know, maybe I'd recommend it if they'd already seen all the really good horror movies throughout history. Because this one's kind of middling. It's just okay. It's just kind of there. It's not offensively bad. It's not terrible. It's just not amazing. It's not like a 9 out of 10 or like a 10 out of 10 or something like that. It's not perfect. Anyways, enough rambling. Even though that's what these videos are about, rambling. But yeah. Paranormal Activity, it was okay. It was meh. It was meh. It was just kind of there. It was forgettable. Is basically how I would put it. Not bad, passable, but forgettable. So yeah. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time for more ramblings about the random stuff that I feel like rambling about.